Mm. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today is Witchy Review. I'm going to be talking about The Last Kingdom. So hopefully you guys clicked on the right live stream, because I know something funky's happening with YouTube right now. I was just struggling with that. So if you are here, hello, please say hi. So I know you're here. Hey, hi November Eve, thank you. Okay, yeah, so I before I even get into it, I'm just gonna let everybody know I love the series The Last Kingdom. And at the end, I'm going to give you another series that you might want to check out that's newer, just started, that you might really enjoy. Again, the theme for Witchy Friday review is typically shows that have to do with witches or witchcraft or some capacity like that, you know, something to do in the arena of practicing magic or something like that. So if I'm talking about it, it's something to do with that. Let me double check to make sure this is right. Oh, okay. I don't know which one. When I pull up my page, it says I have two different lives happening, but I guess, you know, I'll let it all figure out. And thank you, Celestial Light. You said you love The Last Kingdom. Yes, this series is like everything. It is literally everything. So I'm about to get into a real fan girl conversation, but I'm not going to speak about the entire series. That's not what this is about. This is a conversation about the witchcraft performed in the series, and specifically about the one witch. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into it. Yes, Uhtred of Bevenberg. Don't get me started on that. Ooh, okay, let's say the witchcraft thing is really, you know, you're into it, but not really, but you just want some eye candy. Uhtred of Bevenberg. It's worth watching it for that. That guy is so handsome. There's a couple other handsome. I think the guys that travel with him, some of them, they're really handsome guys too. They're really handsome guys also. The whole crew, especially the one, dang, I can't think of his name right now. He's got at some point they all shaved the side of their head, but the one who was kind of with him for a really long time, he was, I'm getting ready to get into the lore, but basically he was like, when Uhtred was forced into slavery, I think that was the guy that was part of that. Anyway, but yeah, he's a really attractive guy too. You want to read the books? Eventually I'll get to it. I know, not eventually, I know I'm going to get to it because it's that good. Like, the series is so good. And this is one of those series where, for me, I'm there. When I wasn't watching it, I was thinking about it. Like, I was deeply engrossed in the entire series. I binge watched it. I had never watched it. I started from season 1 and I finished up to the last season. This is one of those things where you get caught up. If you like, you know, shows like, I'm trying to think of what's comparable to this. Dang, what is that? Oh, what is that show that everybody was chirping about and they hated the ending? I didn't watch it, so I can't remember the name of it. Game of Thrones. It's not like Game of Thrones, but I understand people get caught up that way. This is one of those shows you can easily really kind of get really into it. Okay, so let me get into it. So if you notice from the thumbnail for this video, there is a woman. She's about to kill somebody. In the thumbnail, that's Skade. So I'm going to introduce you to the witch. Well, they would have called her a seer. So let me back up a little bit. So The Last Kingdom, basically, majority of the series, and it's on Netflix, by the way, of this series is taking place. The witchcraft was very shamanic in nature. Yes, I'm about to get into that. So, witchcraft. Okay, so what's happening is, it's an ongoing battle. The series takes place. There's an ongoing battle with the Danes and the Anglo-Saxons, those who are which will become England. So the Danes are basically people from Denmark, technically, but during this age that we're talking about, that the series is taking place, they're the Vikings. This is during the Viking age. So the Danes actually is kind of synonymous with Vikings. And they're the ones who, if you know anything about a little bit of history, they raid, Vikings would go on these raiding expeditions with anything they could sort of basically carry. Initially, it was, they come in, raid, pillage, the whole thing. But they were also people from Sweden, Norway as well. Anyway, but the point is, they would go in and raid. So it started with raids. So this was Wessex and other places, which again, we're talking about, I guess the British countries. It's not formed yet into one England. So let's go back. Prior to them becoming England, they're trying to fight off the Danes. And that's basically, it's a lot of warring going on. So the Danes didn't just want to raid anymore. They still like to raid, but they want the land because it was better to farm on. They saw a jewel. They saw something great in those lands there. So they wanted to conquer. They didn't just want to take and leave. They wanted to take over. So that's the ongoing struggle, conflict, and warring that's happening. So in the midst of this, you have, tens of thousands of Danes coming over. So along with that, they have seers, sometimes, that they bring with them, these great warriors. They would have their seer. So the one seer, and she's from season 3, that really makes the most impact would be Skade. Skade, Skade. So she's a little younger woman, blonde hair. She's supposed to be considered very pretty, very attractive. And she's the seer to someone named Bloodhair. Sigurd Bloodhair. Oh, okay, you gotta go. No problem, Celestial. Please check back and add comments, especially if this is your jam and you're into this just like me. You'll probably really enjoy this. So anyway, I'm just giving you a little bit of background. There is a whole lot more going on. So even if I give you a little bit of spoilers, I'm talking season 3. If you've never seen this, you'd have to build up. By that point, some of this starts to make sense. So anyway, Bloodhair, that's her man. That's his seer. So I wouldn't say it was like a master-slave relationship, because it's not like that. It was more like that was his woman seer, like his personal witch, if that makes sense. We are introduced to Skade in season 3, at the beginning of season 3, actually, because she has a vision, and they play out the vision. The vision is that her man, Bloodhair, basically kills King Alfred, who is the king of Wessex. And that's kind of like, that's the sweet spot. They all want Wessex, because if you control Wessex, then the Anglo-Saxons are not a problem anymore. We don't have to worry about them anymore. That's, they're done. He's kind of like, that's the central, the safe place. So they want to take that. So anyway, so for a seer to tell him that, that's enough for him to jump into it and be like, okay, let's go to war. And he does just that. Well, it's a ever evolving type of series, so a lot of things happen, but just know that along this path, on their way to having, this big showdown, this war, so to speak, so that he gets the king, kill the king of Wessex, they stop off in a town or a village, and they kill everybody, because that's what they do, including the priests there. So that is when Skade, the seer, is left alone to handle the priests, which basically she tortures and kills them. They didn't have the silver she wanted, and they wouldn't tell her where it was. They said they didn't have any. Well, that wasn't good enough. They were going to die anyway. But she likes to, she's kind of evil. No one likes her. When I did research online about this character, people hate this character. They hated her so much. But anyway, that's when she meets the lead. The lead in the entire series is someone named Uhtred of Bebbanburg. He has an entire storyline. Get into it if you really want to know more about it. But that's not my focus. The lead character is actually not my focus. It's Skade, the witch, or the seer. So she meets him. Within moments of meeting him, she curses him. Well, he's trying to kidnap her. He wants her for ransom. So he tries to kidnap her. So she's like, no, you're not going to kidnap me. Actually, our fates are tied. And yeah, you do anything to me, it affects you. And by the way, I now hold, power over your entire life. And she means him harm. So she curses him right then and there in just meeting him, which is really crazy. So that's how Skade gets into it. It starts with her vision of her man at the time, blood hair, killing the king. Therefore, he basically gets the king to the kingdom and gets the land, and he's victorious. That's what he wants. But Uhtred comes into the process. Their paths cross over, and now she, in her mind, believes she's cursed him and he belongs to her. So thus starts most of the season 3. It's a lot of other stuff going on, but this is a huge component, this curse that he has to contend with. And what I'd just like to talk about at this point, specifically, is the type of magic that was going on during this time. Initially, there's a lot of blood magic happening. For instance, when she curses Uhtred, she's standing there holding a heart. As I mentioned, she had just killed some priests. She tortured them and then killed them. She didn't just kill them, She had a human heart in her hand when he happened to walk into the church that she was standing in when she killed them. And she was squeezing it, symbolically saying, as she held that heart in her hand, it was, like sympathetic magic. She was making that symbolic of his heart, Uhtred's heart, as she cursed him. Which I think is very interesting. Her exact words were, "The witch holds his heart in her hands and she will squeeze it and break it." And she was doing all this while holding the human heart. So it was gory, the blood's dripping, it was a whole thing. So that was really interesting I don't know, I like stuff like that. So that caught me, with her. I'm like, oh, we're going to sit back, because they have been kind of dabbling before with some of the herbs that were used. Some of the other women, they would do certain things, and I guess it was considered witchcraft. But no, here we had one, the real, like, she's the for real kind. That, at least that's how they wanted us to believe it, right? So so this is how she gets caught up. So the curse, is it real? Yeah, apparently it was, because Uhtred, right after that, he had a woman, a wife. She was pregnant. The wife dies during childbirth. Coincidence, maybe, but she sort of mentioned, she doesn't even know about this woman, but at some point while she's being held prisoner by Uhtred, she mentions to him, oh, you're gonna need a woman, basically, because she knows as a seer that his wife is dead. So that was really interesting, and that's a turning point for the main character, and that's when he really believes, once he finds out that she died in childbirth, that he really is cursed. And it affects morale between him and his men. It got really dark for them, which, as warriors, this is kind of a big deal. It's interesting because she wants to create more of a bond. She wants Uhtred to become her man like Bloodhair was. She considers now Bloodhair, the previous guy, to be weak, because he wouldn't have allowed this to be happening to her. She really has no loyalties. And she wants to have a sexual relationship with Uhtred, and he doesn't want that. Or that's what he tells her. He doesn't know. He doesn't want her. So the thing I find interesting about that is she was already into, all different, and she's definitely into blood magic. They showed that as well. Had he actually been okay with wanting to have this relationship with this woman, this more of an intimate relationship, she would have completely dominated him, and that would come up later on. Just this relationship, as I said, takes up a lot of season 3. So there's a lot more into it. So again, it's not so much that I'm giving spoilers. It's more like I am, but by the time you get there, there's so many other storylines that are impacting this. Don't worry about it. I'm not ruining it for you. Trust me. So we have her. She's a prisoner. He finds out his wife died. He despises the infant that she has because he feels like it took the life of his wife. He has 2 other children, so he does know he needs to be concerned about them. But he's right now trying to fight this curse. This curse is overtaking him. He gets sick at some point. Like, he's not well. He's really, and she's reminding him the whole time, it's her. Things happen. She gets out of his care. Somebody else he's forced to trade her. And someone else, one of his other enemies, owns the Seer now. And that's not a great relationship, but really no one owns this Seer. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. It just makes you really think about this time, this time of the Vikings and them going against the Anglo-Saxons. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm a seer and I'm a witch, it's going to be to my detriment to kind of play up the theatrics, to really play up my power. And I feel like, she would have to do that because these guys are brutal. These men, these Danes, they're brutal. They don't, they're warriors. Their goal is to die in battle. They don't want to live calmly. Their goal is to go out, literally in a blaze of glory. Well, not blaze, but, they have to die with their sword in their hands, like true warriors. I kind of like that, actually. I like that a lot. And they all talk about going to, I think it's called Valhalla. Yeah, that's like the Viking heaven. So that's very important to them. And, certain things have to be done. It was interesting to see how their culture, at least how they're displaying it on the series, how the Viking culture is, or the Danes culture. Everything from how they handle, the dead, to making sure you don't get caught in the cross world, the in-between space of when you die. So if a warrior doesn't have a sword in his hand when he dies, he doesn't get to go to Valhalla, so that's a problem. So you want to avenge that. You want to break that curse that cursed place that he's in. So there are things you can do in the living to help that. Seers provide that. I will detour for just a moment. There's another seer on the series that was introduced. He's a man, so it's not just women. And Story is his name, Story. And he's also, again, a seer to one of the leading warriors. And he's kind of an a-hole, as I would assume they have to be. Again, he plays into the theatrics also because they want to, you... Otherwise, these people don't need you. Why are you here? You're taking up resources, food, and space, and a tent to be in. You're in the way, so you need purpose. So these seers they have to keep their footing amongst the clan of warriors and other people that are there. But I think specifically the women have it tough because all the men are going to want to have sex with you. You said the Viking culture is too brutal for you. Yeah, watching that, it lets me know it's brutal. I think people tend to romanticize. Now, obviously, it's a TV show. But when you do a little bit more digging, you understand about those raids I was talking about. It was violent. It wasn't good. Now, on the flip side, the answer to that... the Anglo-Saxon who were, they were Christians. They also had their approach, which could also be very violent as well. There's that part. But anyway, so Skade continues to try to keep making Uhtred her man. I love that she needed to find her place. She wanted to ride with this guy. She wanted to be with him. And it wasn't working out. And like I said, eventually he kind of lost his ransom because he wanted to get ransom for her, but he had to trade her. He gets her back. And when he gets her back, this is what was interesting. His biggest thing was, how do I break this curse? He had to figure out, actually by even go as far as meet with another seer to find out how to break this curse. And this is what I found interesting. The only way to break the curse, obviously other than the seer, Skade relinquishing him from the curse. And she said she would if he slept with her, but he wouldn't because she wouldn't. She wanted to own him. So when he found out how to break the curse, they don't tell you this, we don't know. All we know is that it looks like he's falling for her. And I love me, the viewer, I'm watching, I was like, oh shoot, she found her foot. She found her place in this man's life, in his, and I thought he was really falling for her. And it's not good because she's an opportunist. Well, he kills her. That's how you break the curse. But you can't just kill the seer or the witch. You have to do it in a way that you don't break her skin. So in the River Thames, he drowned her. He drowned her. He just forced her head down. She thought they were finally going to have their intimate moment. That's not what happened. He took his shirt off and wrapped it around her neck and dragged her down into the river until she couldn't breathe anymore. And his curse was lifted, and, he lives on to fight another day. And that's the end of Skade. So she was a lot to do in season 3. As I mentioned before, and Uhtred, there was a lot that was kind of the beginning to even more horrible things happening in this man's life because of that. So she definitely had an impact, and she dies in the end. She honestly wasn't that great of a seer because she didn't see her own death. She said she saw King Alfred dying in the beginning, as I mentioned before, who was the king of Wessex. That's the sweet spot. They wanted that. All the Vikings, all the Danes, they wanted to get to that one. And her man at the time, she told him she saw the battle, saw him killing him. That didn't come to pass. That's not what happened. So maybe she wasn't the best of seers. So, keep that in mind. However, she was right about some other things. And again, it was just fascinating to see how in that culture, a witch, the Anglo-Saxons referred to her as a witch, but the Danes would have just called her a seer. And here's the thing, maybe some of the guys thought it was BS, but most of them believed her. When she said, you were cursed, they believed it. And I just thought that was really interesting. Again, she had to find her place, her power, because I can't imagine these guys letting her just be. The way they treated women in general, as they say on a series, hump. They use the term hump for sex. So she would have been humped to death and eventually left somewhere to just, I don't know, die or killed by one of the, Christians at some point, because they say they wouldn't kill, or they take them as slaves. It's a whole thing. I don't want to go down that route, but interesting show. I like, and I want to say in each season there's the element of mysticism. There's the element of actually Celestial Light said, shamanic in nature. The things that they believe in. Even when they were doing forms of divination, people who weren't seers, they could still had access to it. Some of the other characters, the Danes, they were able to use certain things, and hello gemstones, they were able to use certain things to divine the future. So that was interesting to watch how it's basically magic and all that sort of stuff was just built into the culture. It wasn't a separate thing, where on the flip side, the many priests and them always wanting money, and the king being led by, supposedly being picked by God, King Alfred. The belief is that God picked him himself, and there's some nuance to that part as well. And it's just interesting, the juxtaposition, because it wasn't just about land, it was about culture. The Danes are considered barbaric, evil, in league with Satan, the devil, and all that sort of stuff. Their entire culture, at least on the series, that's how they would see things. And obviously they had their reasons, because these people would just come in, kill, rape. They didn't, babies, women, y'all all getting dealt with out. If I want this land, I want what you have, you gotta go. And they set your stuff on fire. So if there are any living people, they're gonna die. So it was brutal, to say the least. But yeah, The Last Kingdom, I say all this and I'm trying to tell you, it's a great show. It really is. There's a lot of different relationships developing. You see character development with the main character. I was really entranced with Skade. It's not that I liked her. I actually, as a fan of the show and a fan of Uhtred, the lead, I don't like her. I don't like what she's doing, but I find it very interesting. I found the show interesting, and I found her place, where what she was trying to do, and how she had all these powerful warrior men who led thousands of other men into battle, and she had them wrapped around her little finger. They all wanted her. They're trading her. She's a commodity. She's valuable. She's considered valuable. The Seer. So it's just something interesting to think about. So if you're looking for something on television and you kind of want to see maybe something a little different when it comes to witchcraft, this is a good show to watch. And just to see how, like I said, magic is kind of worked into their culture. They're not calling it magic. It's just their culture. But, they reference Odin and I never heard Thor, but they do reference Odin a couple times, and obviously Valhalla. So that's something to think about. Another show, The Nevers. There's only one episode out right now. It's on HBO Max. Again, the show is called The Nevers. I watched that one episode, and I'm in. I'm all in. And the alt Barbie said you might have to check this one out because you want to see the spells and curses. It is interesting. I'm purposely not going too much into this type of magic and stuff that she was doing. It's interesting. You would find it interesting. For sure. I don't want to give it all away, but it would be interesting to do with blood. But anyway, The Nevers, again, on HBO Max. So basically, in short, this show is about Victorian women finding themselves with unusual abilities, which turns into them having enemies, and they kind of are on a mission to save the world or change the world. That's the synopsis of the entire show. There's only one episode out, but I think it's worth watching that one episode. So basically, what seems to have happened is there was some sort of big world event, like a spaceship. It looks like a spaceship, and this is in Victorian times in England. So we're in a totally different space now with this show, The Nevers. Spaceship kind of like this sends out some sort of substance, like little sparkle things come down on Earth. And I don't know if this is a worldwide event, but right now where our story starts on episode 1, it's in London. So if you basically, it didn't affect all women or all people, I should say, but it did. There had to be something already there, and when you breathed in, or the sparkles that came from the spaceship got onto you, or you breathed it in, it affected you. Something is basically activated the magic or the special abilities you have. Some of the special abilities, which it looks like witchcraft, some of them are, they get, the one woman, she can see a bit into the future. Another woman is just, she understands elements, electricity. So she understands electricity. So if you understand electricity in a different capacity, in a capacity that no other humans can, she can invent all types of creation because she understands how to power it, where it goes, and thinks in different concepts than us regular humans. And then we have some who, there was a giant girl, so there's physical abilities, abnormalities, I guess. Also, excuse me. Also, it's really interesting. Again, The Nevers, HBO Max. They feel like witches. So, at some point somebody even claimed about it being witchcraft. I'd love to see more. I know there's drama behind the scenes with this series, so I don't know how this is going to work out. His name, Joss Whedon, is the producer and everything, I think director, and he left the mid-production. I don't know, but they just got the one out. I don't know what's going to happen with that show. I mean, I don't think HBO Max will put that out and not do any more, and it just came out, but I don't know, guys. But it was interesting to see that first one, and I like where they were going with it. And I would be very interested in to see, to see more. I hope it does, because I'm recommending it because I think, again, it's just thinking outside the box a little bit on witchcraft and witchiness and all that sort of stuff on TV. Yeah, I still watch Charmed. I still watch, what else is out right now that's really witchy? I can't wait. What else is out besides Charmed, which is directly witches? I can't think of another show that's really all about witches. So it's not, right now, like TV shows or series, I can't think of anything specific. WandaVision, honestly, technically, I felt, she's witch, Scarlet Witch. So WandaVision would be another one if you're looking for something with a little witchy flair. You got to stay with it though. WandaVision is available on Disney. So you would have to have streamed the Disney streaming service or whatever in order to see that. But if you stay with it, you're not going to catch the witchiness in the first few episodes. That's one of those things. It unfolds as time goes on, but you'll be rewarded with the witchiness. And the way I'm doing my hands like this, it's very WandaVision-esque, because when she casts her spells, she's like doing all these hand movements. Look like she's doing TikTok dances. Yeah, Sabrina. Yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Or Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix, which I adore. Hail Satan. I love that show. And I'm so sad that it finished. I loved all of it. I love watching it. The Worst Witch on Netflix. Wait, is The Worst Witch for children? I was confused by that show. I thought it was for kids. So I kind of didn't pay attention to it. That was the only thing. But I don't know. Those are not the only TV shows or series that I watch. But, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of that, right? The fantasy of witchcraft or witches and things like that. So I like seeing that sort of stuff. But The Last Kingdom, it's a little bit more darker. It's deeper, and it's definitely violent. There's violence in almost every episode. There's nudity as well, and in a good amount of the episodes as well. So that's something, you gotta kind of know you're getting all of that. The Last Kingdom is not for kids. Okay, so that The Worst Witch is for kids. Thank you. Yeah, and the Never, I don't know about the show The Nevers because it's only been one episode. I probably wouldn't want, I don't think it's HBO Max. I don't know if it's for kids, but it's a good show. But you said this, okay, so this show, The Worst Witch, it's a kid's show, but it's still dope. All right, I'll check it out because I'm open to some witchy shows, even if it's for kids. I'm okay. Everything doesn't have to have gore, blood, violence, and nudity for me to watch it. Unfortunately, a lot of the shows that I do watch have these things that I really enjoy. But I can step out a little bit and go more in the wholesome side of witchcraft. That is definitely not a problem. Okay, but yeah, I might rewatch Sabrina again just because I love it so much. I think it's finished, right? There's no more episodes. We watched the last one. Oh, it's sad. I like that one. But anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much for the witchy review. I wanted to talk about The Last Kingdom. It is definitely something I recommend getting into. There's more to it than just the seer and the witchcraft and stuff like that. But for those of us who practice, it is interesting to watch how they practice, their sort of Nordic traditions. And maybe I want to say some Celtic and stuff like that. And to the way the lands are discussed before they're together, like before there's all of, just one England and the United Lands. And they, at some point, Ireland and all that is brought in because some of the Danes were there and they're fighting there. And this ongoing battle between, their ways and the Christian ways. And it's a very interesting show. And it'll pull you in. watching again how they handle their, because there's many people dying, so how they handle their deaths, and just the warrior spirit. I kind of like it. It's repulsive at the same time, their desire for the violence and wanting to kill, but also it's very entertaining. I don't know, maybe that says a lot about me, right? But it is entertaining, and you can lose yourself in watching it, and picking up a lot of different witchcraft themes. But for season 3, specifically to do with Skade, a lot of the magic, sympathetic magic, blood magic, shamanic type nature magic, for sure. You see a lot of that. Just regular spells. No one's rhyming spells. I don't recall anyone saying that. When she cursed Uhtred at the time when she was holding the human heart in her hand, she didn't rhyme it, but it took effect. So that's also something to kind of, I don't know, I find those things interesting, so you might too. All right, so does anybody have any questions about The Last Kingdom, or if you guys were curious about the show The Nevers? There's only one episode. I don't know the whole thing on that one, but it caught my attention, and I kind of like it. I enjoyed it, actually. I enjoy seeing these women who are inventive, and they have these abilities, so there's a magical component to it. And we don't fully understand in the first episode what's happening, other than this big event happened, and it was 3 years ago, and now we're in, 3 years from now. And that's when episode 1 starts, from this big event that everybody kind of just ignored. I don't know. Okay. So it looks like, yeah. If you guys are going to check it out, let me know. Leave in the comments especially The Last Kingdom. Let me know if you succumb to peer pressure. I'm pressuring you. And you started watching it. Let me know, because it was a really good show. I can't wait until the next season. I don't know how long that's going to be, because I realized COVID happened and that probably delayed production. I don't know, but we'll see. But it's a really good show. Again, that one's on Netflix. The Nevers is on HBO Max, which is not the same as, what I guess technically it's on HBO. I don't really know how they're doing that. If you just have HBO, can you watch the stuff on HBO Max? I don't know, because I happen to have HBO Max, so I know I just have it. I don't know, but you can figure it out if you want. All right, so I will end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Coming to my witchy review. And if you have any suggestions for things, the things I know that coming up, the apps for sure, witchy apps, that's coming. So, stay tuned for that. I'm definitely doing that. Obviously some more books. And I was thinking about, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do this where it makes sense, but I wanted to buy from some fellow witches. A lot of them had their maybe some channels on YouTube, like candles and things like that, already blessed candles. I was really curious about that, and I kind of wanted to talk about it, because I know I would love to see a review separate from what the seller, is talking about, because a lot of people copy and paste. Hey, I had great results with this candle. Thank you. That sort of thing. But I want to do it sort of independently, in case you were wondering, hey, I saw, somebody who's really popular on YouTube, and they're selling these candles, and they're supposed to be spelled, and, tell me about it. So I am looking to try that out. I'm not going to buy a bunch of stuff, but just maybe one candle from here, maybe one candle from there, from a different person. And I want to support them, So if you have any suggestions on who maybe I should purchase stuff from, let me know in the comments, especially if you're catching this on a replay. Let me know, because I want to review that as well. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to get out of here. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And please like, subscribe, share. And thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.